And this is the best picture I have seen.
This is a live view from the Orion spacecraft.
They should zoom properly in. They should use right camera focus. That all is their problem. But
currently aboard Orion, 4 crew members: Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen.
Imagine that.
It's and like on the Earth, all of us, all of humanity. You can see the moon is starting to get a little bit dimmer as the astronauts are going to pass behind it. Now 6 minutes and 26 seconds away from that loss of signal. Again, we will be out of communication with them for about 40 minutes until they come around the other side of the moon and we can reestablish contact.
Oh, Melody, you missed the Earth. Yeah, I mean, they should focus the cameras very well, but, well, whatever it is, that at least better than nothing.
Integrity Houston, you are 6 minutes from your 40-minute lunar flyby LOS. From all of us, it's a privilege to witness you carrying the fire past our farthest reach. Thank you. Godspeed.
Yeah, this is one of the best views, folks. You will not get this view unless you go there.
Thank you for that, Jenny.
No telescope on the planet can take this picture.
All of you for allowing us the immense privilege to be on this journey together.
You have to be physically there to get this picture.
As we go on this journey,
guys, if you're still balding in 2026, what are you doing? There's an easy solution. It doesn't cost tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Hold on.
Close to the nearest point to the moon and farthest point from Earth, as we continue to unlock the mysteries of the cosmos, I would like to remind you of one of the most important mysteries there on Earth, and that's love. Christ said in response to what was the greatest command, that it was to love God with all that you are. And he also, being a great teacher, said the second is equal to it, and that is to love your neighbor as yourself. And so, as we prepare to go out of radio communication, we're still to feel your love from Earth, and to all of you down there on Earth and around Earth, we love you from the moon.
Thank you, Victor. I believe he is talking as his voice is getting faded away while he is going behind the moon. Amazing.
We will see you on the other side.
Exactly. See you on the other side. That's a pleasure to say. Did you guys see something is coming out of this thing? Like right here? No, that's breaking something. No. I'm talking right here. Yeah, we are losing signal, folks. We are losing signal.
Poignant words from NASA astronaut Victor Glover, and a little bit of a love letter from the other side of the moon all the way to Earth. Glover touching on the teachings of Jesus, including to love your neighbor as yourself. We are now less than 3 minutes away from loss of signal with the Orion astronauts. The Artemis 2 crew will be out of signal for about 40 minutes as they are on the other side of the moon, continuing their work photographing the lunar surface, and they will reemerge, and we will also get this view on the other side.
Thank you. Yeah, video glitches. Oh my goodness. This gives me goosebumps, guys. I don't know about you, but this is giving me goosebumps. What do you think? This particular view and the signal going down and the glitching is giving me the goosebumps. Why do they use old? I have no idea. Like some of the decisions they make in my head, the way I'm thinking is like, probably these guys are super smart, but not like street smart. You know what I mean? So they are extremely smart, but not.
Just about a minute and a half now until we lose communication with the astronauts aboard Orion on the Artemis 2 mission. Now, 5 days and 6 minutes since their launch on April 1st. Again, we'll be out of communication for about 40 minutes. And this really beautiful view of a crescent moon and a crescent Earth.
Of course, of course.
How great thou art.
And look at the moon taking over the Earth, right? It's almost like eclipse. Oh, we lost it. Yeah, they are book smart. That's right, Glenn. That's what I believe. And they don't care about some of these other things. You know, yeah, they must have spent pretty much all their time approaching the wormhole. Yeah.
30 seconds now until we expect loss of signal.
Yeah, the orphan, don't get me started talking about telescopes because it never stops. So I believe I'll stay away from it. It's a lot safer area. I shouldn't go there. Oh my God, look at that. That's a tiny bit of Earth left. And it is going behind. We will never see it unless we go there. But at least now I have a clear idea how it feels like flying 4,000 miles away from the moon and how Earth feels like. That's very interesting. Oh, you lose the signal all the time, Stephen? Is that what you're saying? No, makes sense.
And we have confirmation of loss of signal of the Orion spacecraft as it flies behind the moon. We expect to regain.
This is you
communications
talking
with
so
them
far.
in
I couldn't put a face
approximately
on her
40 minutes.
so far.
This was expected as their spacecraft is now out of direct line of sight with Earth and behind the moon. And this is a poignant moment as it's the first time in over 50 years that we have humans completely unreachable by anyone else on Earth. No matter how distant or secluded, we could reach anyone living on Earth, but while the crew flies behind the moon, it's simply impossible to make contact with them. This is a live view inside the Science Evaluation Room here at Johnson Space Center and just down the hall from Mission Control. This team has been monitoring the flyby all day as the team has continued capturing targets on the lunar surface.
Yeah, disturbed force. If Stephen Burns detected strange signal
this team
deep of our galaxy, we can never reach it.
The astronauts identify some of the features they were seeing.
Not in our lifetime,
expecting.
not in million years. So forget it. If the signal comes
there will be a couple
next
of
to
milestones
Earth, let me
during
know.
this loss of signal. The first will be when the astronauts make their
I'm
closest
hooked.
approach of the
If you
moon
tell me the
at
signal is
NT, 5 days,
million light
25
years away
minutes,
from
and
here,
34
there is no
seconds,
point.
when we expect they'll be 4,067 statute miles above the lunar surface. Their maximum Earth altitude will be reached just 2 minutes later.
Oh,
at
thank
5
you,
days,
thank you.
27 minutes and 39 seconds, when their altitude should be approximately 252,756 statute miles. Once those milestones are reached and we have confirmation, we will report the official numbers.
These guys are also hooked like the way we do. They just need probably the restroom breaks or whatever they need. I mean, these guys are like sitting like us in front of their computers working all day long.
Throughout the Artemis 2 mission, astronaut voice, images, video, and vital mission data must traverse thousands of miles, carried on signals from NASA's powerful.
You want to go live on the moon
systems,
too?
the Near Space Network, and
Yeah, a
the
lot
Deep
of
Space
people
Network.
wants to go
Let's
live
learn
on the
a little bit
moon.
more.
Moon is an easy target, folks. We wasted all our money on
NASA's
unnecessary
Artemis
stuff.
2 will send 4 astronauts around the moon,
We would have
preparing humanity
spent
for a long-term
decent
lunar
amount
presence
of money
and future
on
journeys to Mars.
moon missions in the
Enabling
last 50
communication
years.
and navigation for
We
this
would have
test
been
flight
going
are
there
NASA's
almost
Near
like
Space
going to
Network
Hawaii
and
all
Deep
the
Space
time.
Network. With
We just
antennas
wasted
around the
all our
world
money.
and a fleet of relay satellites, the networks will deliver vital data to and from Earth through all phases of the mission. The networks are seamlessly integrated at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas, where Mission Control coordinates the network handovers. These transfers represent a delicate dance between the two networks, exchanging support as the mission shoots toward the moon. On the launch pad and during their early orbit phases, NASA's Orion spacecraft and Space Launch System rocket will rely on communications and tracking services from the Near Space Network. After its translunar injection burn, the Deep Space Network's global array of antennas will serve as Orion's primary communication support during lunar orbit. As the mission journeys farther into space and away from Earth, signal strength weakens and bandwidth is conserved for crew communications. The astronauts will have a near constant connection to Earth, ensuring their safety on a journey farther into space than ever before. We say near constant because as Orion goes behind the moon, a planned loss in communications will occur. The Deep Space Network will be standing by to reacquire the signal as Orion reappears. The Artemis 2 mission also provides an opportunity to test new capabilities. Using laser links, NASA will periodically transmit Orion data to showcase the benefits laser communications could have for future human spaceflight missions.
Thank you, everyone.
Sent by radio signals or laser links is massive. The mission is gathering images, data, and video, while also generating details about mission health and crew voice files. All of that data gets processed here on Earth, where systems compress it for efficiency. In the future, we'll upgrade these systems on Earth so that image and video clarity improve with each moon mission. With the Artemis 2 test flight, we're evaluating the communications infrastructure that will help carry us into the future as we explore the moon and journey forward.
Oh,
to
it
Mars.
takes right now 6 months to get to Mars. It's useless. It's too long. We need more efficient rockets. We need a lot more efficient rockets. So we cannot waste 6 months of our life going to some place. Yeah. We thank you for also coming. I mean, there are like million live streams right now. You could have chosen, I'm talking like a Southwest Airlines, but you could have chosen any other live stream. Thank you for coming here. Thank you. Six months of travel is wild. You lose your... yeah, it's way too
We are
much.
now about 33 minutes until we expect to regain communications with the astronauts aboard Orion. And in the meantime, I've got Dr. Kelsey Young, Artemis Science Flight Operations Lead, here with us. Thanks for joining me, Kelsey.
Thanks for having me. This is such an exciting day.
Oh, no kidding. It has been so cool to hear you communicating directly with the crew. And I know that you have been preparing for this for years. So I am so excited for you and for your team. So just to get into that background a little bit, tell me about your background and what you've been doing on console.
My background is as a field geologist. Actually, I studied impact cratering in the field for my PhD. So all these descriptions of impact craters have me just absolutely swooning. How I got into this, though, is, during my PhD, I got an internship at NASA and ultimately never left to integrate science into flight operations. So we developed the Science Officer Console, for which this is the first mission we're supporting. We developed the Science Evaluation Room that's right upstairs. And so it's so gratifying to see this operation structure come to fruition, especially on a day like today.
I would have to imagine so. And we've got a great view of the Science Evaluation Room right now. Is there anything that has stood out to your team so far?
Absolutely. So as you might have heard in some of the press briefings and content that, we've been putting out, color and albedo were
Yes.
really exciting targets for us. We've heard several amazing color descriptions so far. Just to highlight maybe one of them, we heard about greenish and brownish hues near Aristarchus, which is actually a feature that we can see here from the near side. And those greenish hues could actually tell us something about the volcanic evolution of that area. So you can bet that the science team is going to be prioritizing downlinking those images and the crew audio that we didn't hear that went into those recordings to learn a little bit more.
Wow, that is fascinating. I was hearing those colors and very interested just from a personal standpoint, because looking at the moon from, 250,000 miles away, we don't see green or brown. So just hearing that, them being so close and getting to see that, fascinating. And I know very exciting for you. So what are you expecting to see in the upcoming portion of the flyby?
The upcoming portion is actually going to be really exciting. So right now, as we speak, while folks in the room are kind of taking their, their stretch breaks and everything, the crew are still hard at work.
I'm listening.
They still have targets to image and describe during this LOS. But when we come out, the first thing, of course, we're going to hear about is Earthrise. We're really looking forward to hearing about the crew's experience with something that we can connect with and that, Apollo 8 brought us such amazing images from. But then we start to get into describing the Terminator, as well as looking for things like lofted dust, which tell us about the modern lunar environment. Then the vehicle's going to orient away from the moon for an hour and then pivot back for the eclipse observations, which is a whole different set of science observations that we're really looking forward to.
It's kind of nice that the crew will get a little break in there, because they have been hitting it hard today with photos and videos and annotations. What are you hoping that the crew sees coming up? Is it that lunar dust?
Oh my goodness, that's a hard question to answer. I mean, we've already gotten such great descriptions. I mean, the Terminator seems to just be like one of their favorite things to look at and describe. So I feel like, that was something we were looking forward to. I feel like we really got some great descriptions. So absolutely, I'm looking to the human moment of Earthrise. Lofted dust is an exciting one, and lofted dust will be a target for them in the right around the time of Earthrise, but again in the eclipse period. So I'm really looking forward to seeing. I mean, they've already highlighted just in the course of their flyby so far how the moon has changed, and this is going to be even more dramatic change to go from their end of this kind of lunar illuminated piece of the flyby into the eclipse time frame. And I can tell you they're going to be experiencing a very different moon during that time, and I can't wait to hear what their observations are.
Yeah, that's absolutely fascinating, and what an privilege that we get to do that on this mission, because that's not always the case. If we had launched on a different day other than April 1st or 2nd, we wouldn't have gotten to see that eclipse. Is that right?
That's correct. April 1st and 2nd. I will say, I was asked a lot in the weeks leading up to the launch, well, what's your favorite day? And my answer truly was, there is no bad day to launch to the moon. We were going to get great science out of it no matter what, but it's a really neat opportunity to, bring the sun into the picture, bring different planetary bodies into the picture while still literally keeping the moon in center stage.
Fascinating. So what differences are we looking for at each site? We're hearing a lot of different terms. We're looking at craters. We're looking at mare. What are the differences that you're hoping to see?
We do have, as you highlight, kind of different prompts for each target. That's what they're looking at in their lunar targeting plan, which I know you've been showing. And we have even different prompts for the person with the really long lens on the camera versus the people with the unaided eye. And you've heard the crew talk about, oh my goodness, when I go from one to the other, I can really detect different nuances. And that's something that we experienced in simulations, but hearing them actually, see it for real has been really gratifying. But we're looking for different things based on the target. Sometimes we're looking for color. Sometimes we're looking for texture. For the Terminator, we're looking at kind of what texture and morphologies pop out to you and what kind of diversity you see along the Terminator. You've heard, Victor especially make some comments about future impacts for exploration. So already I think that their descriptions in this first part of the flyby have told us something scientifically, but also about future surface missions.
Well, it was so interesting to hear Victor talking about he was imagining in his mind's eye being down on the surface and walking around. That was very cool to hear. And when we're thinking about targets, I know some of them are determined based on the launch day because that determines the lunar illumination. So the ones that we're looking at today, how and why were these selected?
Such a wonderful question. This really gets at at the heart of some of our really highest priority science questions. Illumination conditions is a big one, right? So, of course, we need the targets that we're interested on the lunar feature to be illuminated.
I'm Rand Spear, the accident lawyer. I've earned my reputation and I'm proud of it. The insurance companies know it and other law firms know it. In this city, reputation means more. More experience, more results, more money. We're Philadelphia's personal injury powerhouse. From our city, for our people. Demand more from your lawyer. Demand Rand. Call me now at 1-800-90-LEGAL.
Of those craters in different lighting conditions could take years for something robotic to be able to do based on attitude maneuvers and where the sun is at. So can you just talk a little bit about the importance of having both the robotic operation and having the crew?
Absolutely. We definitely don't want to minimize the impact of orbiting spacecraft. Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter is the one that's often referenced. Data from LRO and its payloads have really been instrumental in getting us, frankly, to this point for Artemis 2 and future missions. But the human experience, the crew observations that we've already been hearing about, it is such a perfect complement to the orbiting spacecraft data because they are able to have this unique perspective. They are far enough away where they can make these contextual observations. You've already heard it. How many times have we heard the crew and their science sit reps say, if I track this feature from all the way up here in the northern hemisphere down to the southern hemisphere, here are comparisons I can make. That right there is not something we had the ability to do with the Apollo missions. And it allows just literally in the blink of an eye to synthesize observations that it would take, a really significant effort to coordinate with different orbiting platforms. And they're making it like that.
Wow. It has been very, very exciting to hear all of their calls so far. And so I've heard they were able to capture every single target so far too. Is that correct?
I think that's correct. And I think it's important also to remember that, and I know the science team is anxiously awaiting this, we've been hearing from the crew members who are not at the forward windows, right? Those crew who are, really in the thick of the observations, they are recording minutes-long observations per target on their crew tablets. We will be getting those down starting here in a couple hours, and that's going to contain really meaty science information that we haven't heard live yet, and that's going to form the basis of my conversation with them tomorrow morning, where we're going to have a really deep dive into the science and absolutely nerd out about what they were able to do today. One of the most gratifying things for me today is hearing multiple crew members say, thank you for putting the discussion times in the targeting plan, because when we have had the ability to put multiple brains on a problem, we have elevated each other. And I'm looking forward to them, sleeping on it overnight and then us actually being able to really, truly have an elevated science discourse tomorrow.
Well, we're looking forward to it too, and I cannot wait to hear everything that you guys get to learn overnight from some of those audio recordings and just everything that they'll be able to share tomorrow. So, Kelsey, I know you are very busy. You've done a great job today, and thank you so much for joining us for this interview.
Thanks for having me. It's such an exciting day.
We are now expecting acquisition of signal in about 24 minutes. As a reminder, the Orion spacecraft has flown around the other side of the moon, where they are out of contact with our deep space network.
Hey folks, I didn't realize the voice is down. So yeah, I'm calculating the time that these people are going to come back on. So it's going to be 7:20 Eastern time. So we need probably let me edit this file. Hold on.
And we just heard confirmation here in Mission Control Houston that we have reached the closest point of our destination to the moon at MET 5 days, 25 minutes, and 34 seconds. And we anticipate the spacecraft's altitude is approximately 4,067 statute miles above the moon.
So the official closest point is right now 602.
We're continuing to track what the crew is doing while around the other side of the moon. They are continuing to take pictures of the Earth, of the moon, the Earth now out of sight. What they're in right now is a crew choice event. The science team has encouraged them to find interesting features on the surface, to take photos of those, and describe why they were interesting. Something else that they'll be looking toward next, just momentarily, will be impact flashes. They've got a few minutes allotted to look at the darkest portions of the moon. They're interested in short-lived flashes on the lunar surface because these would be caused by impact bombardment. After their impact flash targeting, the team is interested in if the crew can see lofted lunar dust. This would only be visible just before Earthrise. Now 20 minutes until we expect to regain communications with integrity and the astronauts for Artemis 2.
I'm trying to calculate and put it out there for your countdown so that you know when the communication blackout is going to end. That's what I'm working on right now. I want to make sure that you have that time going. That way you're not second guessing what's happening there. So this is the communication blackout time. It should end in another 16 minutes. So
we're live in Mission Control Houston at NASA's Johnson Space Center, but there's a team over 750 miles away also monitoring today's operations. And of course, just like us, they are in LOS, or loss of signal, with the spacecraft. This is LUCA, the Lunar Utilization Control Area, and it's joined by LISA, the Lander Engineering Support Area, which are twin control rooms that will support missions and operations in lunar orbit or on the moon's surface in real time at NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama. The LUCA and LISA are right next to each other and just a short walk away from the SLS Engineering Support Center, which is used during launch, and the POIC, where science on the International Space Station is monitored. LUCA primarily supports Artemis science operations, while LISA will provide engineering support for landing astronauts on the moon. During this mission, Artemis 2, teams in the LUCA will use the facility to support first-of-its-kind science operations to better understand the deep space effects of microgravity and radiation on the crew's physiology, immune systems, and ability to complete various tasks. The data from these science operations will inform future crewed flights to the moon. For future crewed missions to the moon, members of the NASA Human Landing System Mission Insights Support Team, a group of engineers, safety leads, flight operations experts, and technical authorities will
Jen, what happens if they never come back into contact? We'll go searching for them. We'll find them. They're not too far from us.
Teams are using the LISA during Artemis 2 to observe mission operations and using the opportunity to inform and prepare for future crewed landings to the moon's surface.
Why is there a blackout? The blackout is because right now this is Orion capsule, let us say, and this is moon. This is the space shuttle. This is the moon. Earth is right here. So moon is between the space shuttle and this is moon, and this is somewhere here is the earth, right? That's what is going on. So it's having a giant building, and you don't get your cell phone signal. Same thing. This is very, very interesting, folks. Thank you for staying here. I know we are, if you want to take a break, this is a good time to take a break. Come back here.
We now expect to regain communications with the astronauts aboard Orion in about 17 minutes. In the meantime, a little overview of how our crew members flying by the lunar far side at an altitude of between 4,000 and 9,000